What's up, everyone? It is me, and I'm back again, your host, Natalie Battles, for Talking Trash's podcast, The Peace Talks. And as always, we have an amazing guest today. But first, if you've subscribed to our channel and you have been following along this whole time, you know that we have went through our whole span of what we are all about here at Talking Trash, which is, we need to know how trash affects us. Our health, our mental health, our money, the environment, our safety. We done talked about it all. So now we're on our second cycle where we're going to dive in again and get a little deeper on specifically today, health. And my wonderful guest who I have is Dr. Mai Heath. Welcome, Dr. Heath.
Thank you so much. Now, so happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Feels good.
She has such big energy. I love it. We're going to have a good show today. I love it. Can you start by telling us about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my pleasure. So, like you said, I'm Dr. Mai Heath. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I am a doula. I'm also the founding director of a nonprofit called Doula Community Alliance, which focuses on health literacy, health equity, and social justice. Along with that, I'm a wife, a mother, an artist, a mentor, childbirth educator. So I do those things.
All the things.
Yeah.
A wife and a mom was enough, right?
Okay.
And all those other things. Yeah. Super women. Come on.
No,
we love it. We love it. Take it. Take the praise. Get your flowers today.
Yeah.
You're wonderful. So when did you start your organization and how did that come about?
Well, the organization started many, many years after the work started,
okay.
I'll say, which happens, I think, a lot in nonprofit. So I went to the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine to get my degree. It's a accredited program from the American Association of Naturopathic Medical Colleges. And I've been a practicing naturopath for over a decade now, and just as long a doula. And then my family and I, we lived in Toronto. Our first two little ones were born there. Our third born here in Chicago. But we came back to Chicago about 8 years ago. And so I had been practicing as a birth worker, practicing as a naturopath for 5 years at the time, and I learned about something called community-based doulas. I wasn't really familiar. In Toronto, we had volunteer doulas. We made use of those for our births, but I had never heard of community-based doulas, which are, connected with home visiting and case management. So I got really excited, and Chicago should be very proud because we really originated a lot of the community-based doula work that goes on all in our country now. But anyway, so I started
That's a shout out to Chicago, though. We create so many amazing things for the world. You're welcome, America. You're welcome, the world.
I love that energy. You're right, though. But I worked for a couple different large charities as a community-based doula, and in Chicago is really where I honed my skills for and my love and passion for service work. So I say all that, Natalie, to get to your final question. So I have been doing that work for so long, but after being a frontline worker, I worked some in administration and nonprofit, and then I was like, I really want to direct more change, and so it was 2022. So not that long ago, 2022, that we started Doula Community Alliance. Our flagship program is a mentorship program. The eligibility criteria is 18 and up because we really do want to focus on young adults. And a lot of times when you get older, people are like, you should have it together by now. And it's like, no, we still need a community. We still need network. So that was our first program. We do focus on folks that are Black or BIPOC or medically vulnerable. As long as you identify with, having some being a part of some marginalized community, then you're eligible for our program. And we also include health workers and birth workers in our attempt to positively affect the Black maternal health crisis. So we have some other programs too. I won't go into all of them, but our first one was a mentorship program. Got some other exciting stuff.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
So 2022. Yeah. Okay, so you're going on 2 years old.
Yeah, we're going into our second year now.
Yay! Okay, congrats, because that's huge. But how did you get interested into this work in the beginning? How did you start?
Yeah, it's a lot of different kind of work, but they're all related work, from holistic healthcare with the naturopathic medicine to birth work with doula work, to social justice work with the organization. So like I say, all intertwined, but different. So how I got started, I'm gonna take it back in
Take
time.
it way back.
Okay, I remember being a young undergrad and a new wife.
Come on.
In Chicago, the first time. My first
so you
go
got
around
married
Chicago.
young.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I was 21, and it was like also 3 weeks before my husband's 20th birthday.
Okay.
Okay, and we eloped. Look, what are we talking about today?
We're gonna talk about it all.
But anyway, so back in the day, I remember living in Chicago, living on my own for the first time, and having different healthcare issues. I did have a doctor. I would see my doctor, but I was like, dang, I really want to have more control and autonomy over my healthcare. I remember just randomly going to a farmer's market, and I went to a farmer's market. Someone was selling different herbs. I bought some herbs that were kind of calling to me. I think it was lemon balm at the time, which is Melissa. Some other ones, and I started researching them, and I started making flashcards for myself. Like, this does this, and this does that. And I started using those
That's
herbs
awesome,
to heal myself, and it worked. So I would say that was like the nascence of the interest, but it went on from there, compounded with like being an artist. I thought about art therapy for a while, but that took me to naturopathic medicine, because I say naturopathic medicine bridges art and science. Naturopaths are medically trained, but we are holistically focused. So, yes.
Love that.
So I went into that, and then honestly, being pregnant in Toronto, essentially an immigrant, we're not from Canada, but we were studying up there. So being pregnant, not having my mom super close or my family, we got a volunteer doula, like I said. That got me into birth work, and then I married the birth work and the naturopathic work, and then, like I said, coming to Chicago, and we the place. We want what's due us. Okay, we want what's due us. We will fight for our rights, which I love, and that was put in me. That was put in me when I did the community-based doula work. So, all of that.
And real quick, what kind of artist are you?
So my first degree, I have a bachelor's with honors in theater directing from Columbia College, Chicago.
My heart. So I have a degree in theater also, acting, directing, and properties work.
Okay.
Yes.
For the props.
Yeah, I love me some props.
I was doing stage management.
I did that.
Okay. Look.
House
take it back.
management.
Take it back to the. Let me tell you a quick story about. So Mark, like I said, my husband Mark Heath, love you. We got married. We eloped. Like I told you. Do you know I was at Columbia? Okay, on the second floor of the building. In my makeup class, my theater makeup class. Did my theater makeup class. Mark and I dipped from class, went over to the Justice of the Peace, got married, because the day before we had gotten our marriage license, because you got to have it for 24 hours. Okay? We went over, we got married, and then that night I was stage managing a play called The House That Jack Built.
Wow.
Yeah. And no one knew for 2 months. So, that's that theater life.
Because you can't stop. The show literally must go on. Absolutely. I knew I liked you.
Okay. Look,
Come on.
I'll drink
Theater Hearts. We love it. So now you got into all of this amazing work, and like you said, it also very much so does tie in together, and that helps make life easier when you have all of these different passions that you can just mix into one healing, holistic, change the world soup, right? Specifically when it comes to your naturopathic work and your healing work, and that goes into being a doula as well. What have you noticed, or if you noticed anything in relations to the environment and your health?
Oh, yes. And that's something I want to give a lot of props to naturopathic medicine and the tenets and the core principles of naturopathic medicine. One of them is treat the whole person. We cannot extract ourselves from our environment or from nature. Actually, I really should have said one of the principles is the vis medicatrix naturae, which essentially means the healing power of nature. We believe that our bodies want to be well. We have to remove obstacles to cure. We have to make sure that our social determinants of health are met, okay? In order for us to clear all that junk so that our body can have a homeostasis. So when I was studying in medical school, I was so enriched and heartened by a focus on, I took a class called environmental medicine. A lot of times now, the language always changes. We'll talk about planetary health, and so yes. We are so influenced, and we should be influenced by our environment. I think when we try to block it out, then we have more pathology and more problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So here at Talking Trash, you may know, we all about the trash, right? Not because we love it, but because we need to get it out of our community, out of our system, out of the air, out of the water, out of our environments. And so with Talking Trash, we are about remediation, which is going out, picking up the trash, cleaning it up in our communities. We're also about education, which is podcasts like these, getting people to understand how it affects us. And then beautification as well, going out, planting flowers and food and creating art pieces that really beautifies the community as well, because when we talk about mental health, that plays a role in too, what you see in your community. So have you noticed anything in particularly around like litter and trash and pollution and how it affects your health overall, but specifically with women and pregnant women, how it affects their child?
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to come to that question in a super authentic way.
For sure.
In sharing what first came to mind. So I think what first came to mind, or there were two things, I don't want to lose them, but what first came to mind was the idea of detoxing, right? I think that's a big thing, and it can be a fad thing. It can be one of those green dollar things and the marketing things. You know, our bodies are always detoxing. So I won't go into a soapbox about it, but it's not necessarily like I got to do a detox. It's not a moment in time. It's something that is continuously happening, but we have organs of elimination, right? And if those organs are not working properly, if they're not optimal, if they're being blocked in some way, then it's going to be hard for us to get those toxins out. And those organs of elimination are, our liver, our kidneys, our colon, our intestine, small intestine, large intestine. Some that we don't think about as much, our lungs. That's an organ of elimination. And then our biggest organ that we got, our skin. That's an organ of elimination. So that was the first thing that came to me when you asked me that question. And the second thing that came around was, I'm thinking about our mindset. You know, for me, like, we live in such a disposable society. You know, single-use items. We create a lot of trash. We can always upcycle more. We can recycle and things like that, but creating less waste to begin with. And tying that in to what you were asking, I think that there's a mindset about that. We want convenience, we want something quick, we want something we think is going to work right away, and it can lead to a lot of waste. And as far as, just more acutely to specific conditions or pathologies, I mean, we could talk about, you had brought up women's health, or, maybe folks who are birthing capable, have that sort of reproductive structure. When we think about our hormones, and then pollution and trash, there's a lot of hormones disruptors in the environment, in those single-use items and plastics and things like that. And that can really throw the balance of our hormones out of whack. That can make it hard for us to eliminate estrogen properly. So it can lead to estrogen dominance, which I think it's not always the issue, but it's, people look to estrogen dominance as like a big a culprit, the big bad guy to women's health, and imbalances there. And so, like I said, when we aren't eliminating well, then the estrogen can build up and we can have quite a few symptoms. So that's one thing that came to mind behind your question. But I'll leave it there.
No, but that's something I don't think, because I didn't know that. And so that's something I think the listeners would actually need to really take heed to, because like you said, it's mindset. And so the simple process of, I want it quick, I want it fast, I want to be able to, I don't want to wash the dishes, I'm going to get all these plastic spoons and forks or paper plates and throw it away, and how that can be affecting our health, and not only our health but the environment overall, because all of those things add up in our landfills. They take forever to break down, and they're causing pollution because they're burning it, which is causing pollution in the air. And just that simple change not only affects the earth, but it affects our health as well. Wow. You got it. And like when you were just talking about we might be like, I don't feel like doing the dishes. I'm going to get something, paper or plate and stuff. Well, but you could be caught in a rock in a hard place. You could be like, well, dang, it's that cycle. It's if your mental health isn't optimal, if your physical health isn't optimal, and you're doing the best that you can, if you're surviving and not thriving, then I'm not which most of America,
so many of us
space right now,
and it comes and goes. It's not, you could be doing well, and hills and valleys. But my point is, I will never be that person to vilify or condemn someone because they're doing the best that they can. But when we know better, we do better.
And we should.
There's always or should. So there's always even small changes that you might might be able to make where you are today, where you are with your mental health, where you are at with your physical health, with your financial health, what resources you have available to you, and all those kind of things. But we do have to gauge that, because mental health is real, depression's real, anxiety is real, and sometimes you can find yourself in a hard place where you're not making the best choices, but you're doing what you can do to put one foot in front of the other.
And to that point, because mental health, if you're experiencing any mental health crisis or you feel like you're in a dark place, please talk to somebody. We're just going to PSS that right there. Like, please talk to someone. But we also have to realize how, when we're talking about health, how your physical health plays into your mental health as well. So we talked about just that small choice of using, plastic. And I ain't saying it because I'm judging y'all. I got some plastic silverware, but place as well, with cups and all the things. But how making that change can make a difference for your health and the environment. The same thing goes as far as when we talk about how the trash and the litter in our environment can affect our mental health. Right? So we have the aspect that I mentioned earlier. If you're in a space that's overrun with trash and litter, how is that affecting your mind? And then how is that affecting what you do that affects your body? Yeah. So we say exercise, right? Exercise is good for your health, right? Gets the heart going. You can lose weight, builds muscle, all the things. But it also has a huge impact on your mood, right? Like, there's endorphins and all the things that's happening in your body when you choose to move and work out. But what if you're really sad and you don't feel like moving? Yeah. Right?
You got it. And there was something you said I wanted to glom onto. I didn't get it. I didn't write it down. But hopefully it'll come back to me.
It will.
What I will move to is, like you're saying, like when you see what's in your environment, how that affects you, how that makes you feel. It makes me think of. I talked a little bit about social determinants of health and their importance, but ACEs, right? Those adverse childhood experiences. Okay, so ACEs will lead to, the research tells us that ACEs lead to all-cause mortality, right? The more ACEs that you have, especially by those formative years, a certain age in your life.
Like that 1 to 7 period.
Close to it. It might be 3 to 8 or something, but very close to it. That can lead to other complications. It doesn't mean you can't overcome things, but there are barriers in your way. If your community is littered with trash, or you don't got folks doing that remediation, all that good stuff that you were talking about, going out, loving on the environment that they tread and walk on and honor every day, if you got a lot of boarded up buildings, if you got a sidewalk you can't walk on without fear of falling down or tripping, that can go into your that idea of ACEs, and the contrary to adverse childhood experiences are protective factors, and the things that you're talking about, that we want to do for our environment, those things can be protective for our mental health, our physical health, our social health, spiritual health, all of those different levels of wellness.
And when we talk about health, I think that's something people don't think about either. It's really a balance. It's not just work out and you good. No, because we just talked about how your mental health can play into your physical health and all of the things that you eat. And a lot of people really want to brush past that because it's easy to grab that Dunkin' Donuts or that Krispy Kreme. It's real easy to do that. And I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you at all. I'm talking about what the heck though? Not judging you at all. But it's easier to do that than to think about how is this affecting our bodies. And I'm sure you know a lot about this. And feel free to go into it. When our body is kind of like a machine, and the food we eat is the fuel, like the gasoline. So if you put in diesel in a Kia,
you gonna have problems. You gonna
have some issues.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to put the right things into your body to get the right outcome as well when we're talking about our overall health. So I know you may know a little bit more about that than me, as far as like what we put in our body affects our body.
Yeah, I'd be happy to speak to that, but. And I think we know that. I think that a lot of us, we know what's right. We know, we gotta drink our water and don't be on your phones, X amount of time before you go to bed.
But I don't think a lot of people know that.
Okay, well, that's good. Maybe I'll take it for granted. But I think for the most part, people do know some healthy living things, right? Some healthy living strategies, but it can be very hard to implement them if you're in a compensated place. If your health isn't on point, it can be hard to implement those. But I'd be happy to speak to those. What you said to me made me think of the mind, body, spirit connection.
Because it's all connected.
Yes, and I was just talking to someone about maternal mortality and about birth work recently, and I was talking about how the body will do what the mind thinks. And so really, when you see someone who's expected, or you think that they're expecting, how we got onto this is that, when you see someone who's expected, don't go up to there and be like, oh my God, here's my horror story. This is what happened in my birthday.
Don't do it.
I used to have this little button that I'd give to people, and it says, for when they were pregnant or expecting, positive birth stories only, because your body will do what your mind thinks. You're tight, you're, feeling some sort of way, you're not on point, then the body will follow. So anyway, what you just shared, Natalie, made me think of that. So I wanted to share that thought. But you're right.
And that goes throughout life also, just in general. Like, manifest your reality. What you focus on the most happens. You bring it into your life because you're actively calling that energy towards you. It's all energy, frequency, and vibration. I know that sounds woo-woo, but it's scientifically proven, folks. Look it up.
But like you were saying, the food, the nutrition, the vitamins and supplements, or whatnot that we put into our body that does fuel us. And you can often realize, if you eat something that doesn't agree with you, maybe you get a little phlegm, maybe you get a little mucusy.
Sometimes immediately.
Sometimes immediately. Sometimes not immediately. So you have to be vigilant of yourself. Maybe you will get, your digestion will change. Or when we talked about phlegm, you could itchiness or things like that, some sort of inflammation or irritation. And there was another one I wanted to say besides just the phlegm, but you could feel sluggish. That's what it is. It can affect your sleep, it can affect your mood, all those sort of things. So what I would really encourage people to do, know thyself, pay attention. We be so go, we be so instant gratification, we don't always take the time to study ourselves and to look at what how our body changes, what our baseline is, and then how it changes, as really looking at that as something that's giving us a marker and a clue to how our health is. So be aware of those things. Write things down. Write down what you eat. Write down how your sleep is. All of that.
Your mood.
Yes, your mood.
All of
Keep
that.
note of that.
And some of the things that are actively in the food, how it affects our body directly, because they put a lot of chemicals and dyes and things like that in food, and that can cause direct issues.
Okay.
I'm not judging you still, but that red dye 40 is a problem. Okay.
You know what? I think I'm okay judging red dye 40.
I'm judging red dye 40. I'm not judging the people that eat it.
Never that.
Try to wean off of it, but I'm definitely judging red dye 40.
Yeah.
It's a problem. And all the dyes and all the things, and how, if you research it and you look at the studies, how it's being connected to ADHD and autism and cancers and all the things, we really have to notice those additives that they're putting into in our food, because a lot of the times, and I've been vegan for a long time now, and I went alkaline vegan for a little bit over COVID because I had time. Okay. But the thing is when you start reading the back, and I teach my 5-year-old this, when you read the back of the things, right? He's that kid, again, he's 5 now, but he started this earlier. He's been reading since he was 1. And so he read the back and he's like, Mom, it's salt in there. We can't get that. It's salt in there. Oh, my, that got sugar in it. We can't get that. Oh, that got milk. We can't get that. We're not getting that right. It was like, no, baby, we're not getting that. But just making that note to be mindful. And sometimes we have to retrain ourselves that way. Luckily, I had over time in life, I learned these skills to be able to pass down to him.
Yes.
But he's going to grow up with those skills. But sometimes we have to reparent and re-educate ourselves on these healthy habits that can help us, because a lot of the things that we're buying goes back to what you said, the hot Cheetos and the 25-cent juice, and those are the things we see on the street when we're out cleaning up. Those are the things that people are throwing on the corners when the garbage can is right there, where there is no garbage can. That's this type of stuff that's littering our community, and those are the exact things that we don't need in our bodies or on our streets.
At least certainly not on a consistent basis, or how often folks have them, or can have them if it's part of your regular diet. But going back to your 5-year-old, I love, teaching them young, and definitely repetition. When we're parenting, we do have to, be repetitive and revisit things, just like we have to do with our adult selves as well. But teaching them young, getting them young, setting those good habits, those healthy habits, that's a really great thing. Even when you're introducing food to your little ones, introducing things that you're going to want them to be eating long term, whole foods, things like that. But let's see, I wanted to, we were talking about the red dye 40, and I wanted to go back to that too. So there is, and you're right. You were right. Oftentimes, one of a part of a naturopathic treatment protocol for neurodivergent people or little ones or atypical little ones is to eliminate additives from their diet. So I won't say, I don't know enough to say, and I haven't seen any research that's saying like that those additives or the junk food, the processed foods are causing autism, Asperger, or anything like that, but exacerbating the symptomatology. Yeah. So I just wanted to make note of that. But yeah, definitely agree with the things that you're saying and how you're talking about, the things that you see on the streets and what is getting littered and what is, not necessarily seeing the things that are composting very easily, the apple cores and the banana slices, we're seeing those packaged and so much packaging, right? Like how can we reuse packaging and all that kind of stuff? Like, on the ground, and just realizing that that's such a large part of so many people's diet. And it's like, when you eat that, how does it make you feel? It's easy, it's a quick fix, and then often after, maybe you're not feeling your best, or maybe you're not aware of how you're feeling because you haven't paid attention to yourself. But not necessarily anything new from what you were saying, but co-signing and for sure just my kind of view on those things.
Now, why do you think like conversations like these around health and litter and pollution is important? Because like the things we're eating, that's pollution to our bodies, right? But then we also mentioned that's also the same pollution that's out in the street and trash and litter. But why is it important to have these type of conversations?
I think that they can be very triggering conversations for some people. They can be very hard conversations, or conversations that people don't get a lot of access to have. So I think that it's important to have a space where people can feel like they are getting knowledge that they can trust in a place that's non-judgmental, a place that's space, so they can start to make incremental changes. Because when you have that external locus of control, you got that external factor that's saying do this, do that, you should, then that might get you to make changes for a bit. But when you have that internal locus of control where you're making choices and decision from your desires and your hopes for yourself, then those lead to longer lasting changes. So I think, just that, having a space and awareness and setting aside some time and making goals that are manageable and saying, okay, this is something that I can do. That's something that I can use. That's something that's different. I'm willing to think about this in a different way. I'm willing to talk to my community and my family and my little ones about this in a different way. That's why I think it's important.
Now, what are some things that you may think we can actively do? Like you said, in some of those small changes that we can make. What are some of those changes you think?
Well, I think that it's figuring out what your goal is first. Is it the trash and the litter that's outside? Is it engaging other community members and family members to be active in that? Is it first starting with the pollution that's in your body and maybe making a mental change or a mindset change so that opens up a space and is a catalyst for you to do those external things? But regardless, I'd say it's figuring out what your goal is and then being able to work toward it. So, for me, I'll say, for me, I'm in a place where I am looking to have more energy, have more energy, get more out of my sleep, because I'm getting the supposed right amount of hours.
But are we really resting?
Get the most, right, okay?
How deep we going down?
I think all the stimulation, all this sort of stuff, it's making me not rested, regardless if I'm getting the sleep or not. So, looking at myself, speaking for myself, if my goal is to improve my energy, then that might have me looking at my diet, my food. Am I eating whole foods? Am I eating whole grains? What's my access to it? Do I need to fight to have better access, or work with other folks to help me get access to those things? Do I want to think about growing things? Is that something that I can do locally? Do I have to do it outside? Can I do it inside? And is this a project that I want to include other people on? Is this a way that I'm now going to spend time with my little ones, or my school family, or my work family? So like I said, just trying to make it really personal. That's how I might attack that, and then for myself. And then, like I said, trying to expand it outward and say, okay, every day I'm going to make it a point to pick up 2 or 3 pieces of trash that I see. I'm gonna make it a point to, when I do pick those trash up, if I see a neighbor, maybe I'm gonna wave to that neighbor so that I know that they see what I'm doing, and maybe it'll encourage them to do it.
You see me, I see you picking up this paper.
Maybe that'll even help with community building. Who knows?
Yeah.
But maybe that's a goal that I'll make.
And it does, though.
Yeah.
For a fact. So talking trash, we started on Earth Day, and pretty much every Sunday after that, weather permitted, we were outside doing these turnabouts over here in the Grand Crossing area. Grand Crossing. We're at the Commerce Center right now. And right out front, we were working on those turnabouts for like 3 blocks down. And every Sunday, it was the most beautiful community experience, because not only was it us out there, shout out to Miss June, and everyone, Malcolm, James, Alexi, who was actually our first health guest, Marcus, Aline, just people who kept coming back, Rodney, everybody. But we also had people that were just driving by that would just say, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Thank you so much. You guys are doing a great job. People that were just curious, like, who are you? Why are you out here cleaning up? And then other people, I mentioned Malcolm, who lives right up the street. He saw us out there. There's another gentleman, Daniel. There's another woman, and just so many people that we've met that just saw us and came and joined us. They literally stopped their car, walked up, got our information, went home, changed clothes, came back, and came back every week after that to participate in that work. So just doing it, like you said, does really build community.
Role modeling that good behavior. And thank you. You know, I'm one of them folks. Thank you for doing all that good work. That's love.
For sure. And I love what you said about starting with you first. And I think if you are clouded in your mindset, if, like you mentioned, we're always go. We got to get to work. We got to pick up the kids. We got to go grocery shopping. We got to cook the groceries. We got to, like, right? It's
glorification of busy, especially professionally, or just not making use of the village that we might have. All, you know, with that busy. I'm going to put that in line with when I was just talking about what I'm doing for myself and getting more energy. Delegating or asking my community more for help, and stop the glorification of busy. So
and because the task will take over, but when you make it a priority to say, I'm going to focus on me right now, it's not sliding anybody else. The significant others will have to understand. The kids are going to have to understand, because when you show up for yourself, you're better for everyone else, but also for your community, because you can't even notice the trash that you're driving past, stepping over, or kicking to the side if your head and your mind is everywhere else. And so when you focus inward, you see more, you understand more, and you want to do more to change it. When you are present, a lot of times that's the thing. We're not present. We're 3 weeks ahead. Yesterday, we everywhere else. I'm guilty too, Grace. We're everywhere else, and we're not present. But when you're present, like I said, you see that trash, and you're like, oh man, this whole block is a little dirty. Let me do something about it.
I can do something about it. I can do something today. Maybe yesterday I couldn't, but today I can, and every little bit helps. Even energetically, we were talking about energetics a little bit, and I think even like mindset, in part, that's an energetic framework. But just being in a place where you can say, I can do a little bit, or I will do a little bit. I think yes, more of that.
And on one of our podcasts, we had what we call the mayors. We were talking about safety, and one of the gentlemen mentioned our governor, who was on there with us, the governor of Inglewood. He said, make it an exercise. He said, go out there with your bag and your pickers and walk the block and pick up the trash. He's like, make it a form of exercise. So it doesn't have to be one or the other, right? If your time is limited, okay, I need to exercise. I need to get outside in this nature, because environment is directly affecting my health too. All right, so how can I do that? I can go outside, get some fresh air, and be in my environment. I can also walk and get some exercise, but I can also clean up this trash. You're doing 3 things at one time that's going to benefit your health. Right there.
That part. Look, real quick. Sunlight, air, water, those are medicines right there. Those are the medicines right there. When we're talking about the organs of elimination, sunlight helps those organs to function, right?
And we're inside way too much.
Oh, yeah.
Way too much. And we're wondering why we
artificial light way too much. But we wonder why we ain't got energy or can't sleep right. Them artificial lights throw your hormones off too. You know, so yeah. Look, in our house, here's some changes we make in our house, right? Where I try to think like, okay, living naturopathically. I also consider myself a minimalist. I consider myself an eco-minimalist because one, like, it's good for the environment, saves some money. You know, I love to upcycle, recycle. We try not to buy single-use items at our home. So we don't buy any straws, we don't buy any paper plates, paper products, like even napkins, things like that. And whenever I get a bag, I don't buy Ziploc bags and stuff. Whenever we get packaging, like from cereal or anything, I reuse those things. So those are some of the things that we try to do, and I hope to, you know, instill in my little ones. We do focus on recycling, but that's not always accessible to everyone. And some folks gotta pay.
Recycling is real interesting out here. Like it's real interesting. We said this on the last podcast. It's also kind of a joke in Chicago. Like, are they really recycling this stuff?
Yeah.
And it's so many stipulations. You got to rinse it out. People don't know that. You know what I'm saying? If it's not clean, they won't recycle it. It's like, it's all of these things that the general public don't understand. I reuse jars.
Yeah.
Like, if it's what's the spaghetti sauce jar? That's a nice twist jar.
Okay.
We're gonna wash that out.
You ain't gotta worry about all the phthalates and the parabens and all the junk that's in the plastic that always breaks down. Right? Yes.
Yeah, that's a new mason jar for me, honey. We gonna rinse that out.
We gonna drink out of that.
It's a cup. It's storage. We got. You pay for that.
Yes.
That's yours now.
That part too.
I love it. But I think for sure, if any takeaways that people should get is focusing in on you, your mental health, your physical health. And when you focus in on your mental health and your physical health, how then you'll even be aware of the other things in your life that you can take in. Because once you start thinking about your health in general, it starts spiraling in the most beautiful way. Because then you're like, okay, what am I eating? What am I consuming? Okay, can I grow this? And now you're gardening and you're doing all of these things now that you probably never would have done if you didn't just take a second to breathe and say, how can I make me better?
Yes.
And it helps not only you, but your whole community and potentially the world from those small changes.
Amen.
So as we get ready to wrap out, I do want to give you an opportunity to give your closing remarks and words, any advice or anything that you want to share to the listening audience.
Well, you said that was a great summary, really. But once again, I'll say thanks for having me. I'm so happy to have been here today in this beautiful space with such beautiful people, and with you, Natalie. I'm Mai Heath, right? You can reach me at, I'm on all the social media platforms, right?
Okay,
and personally, you just look for my name, Dr. Mai Heath, N-D, N like naturopathic, D like doctor. You can find our nonprofit, In Doula Community Alliance. That's in like naturopathic doula, so In Doula Community Alliance on all the platforms. Engage with us. You know, we're a big community-focused organization. We believe in, getting access to healthcare and to integrative healthcare so that folks can have autonomy and have options, especially our community, and there's a whole history of that. But yeah, reach out and I'll reach back. And as far as final thoughts, I love that there's a space to talk about these things, that where we can think about them and talk about solutions and how the problems even came about. And I say just keep the conversation going, like chat with your people, chat with your little ones, and buy less, spend less, and reuse more.
Well, thank you for that. I love your energy again. And I know you're not getting away from me. Now that I know you, girl, we locked in, okay?
I love it.
One, because just natural healing is the way to go. We all need to start focusing again on ourselves, taking time for our health. The bills will get paid. The husband or the wife ain't going to fall out. The kids will be okay. Like, everybody will live. For you to take time for yourself to be the best self for you and for them, and expanding that information again to your family and your community at large, and learning about the things that you can eat and the ways that you can help heal your body naturally, and herbs. Oh my God, the herbs.
Oh yeah. And like I said, we didn't even talk about the different modalities that naturopaths use, from botanical medicine to nutraceuticals, which are vitamin and supplements at therapeutic doses, but even the advocacy,
essential oils.
talking for yourself, speaking for yourself, knowing what your options are. Like advocacy is a big part of naturopathic medicine. And I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you and invite you to March let me get this right. March 2nd, Saturday, March 2nd, we're going to be here on the South Side in Chatham this time to do an event called our Hybrid Town Hall. So there's a virtual component, but we'll be on site as well at the Shine Bright Community Center in Chatham. And the intent of that is to socialize and have fun and be with our community and all that. But we are going to have a community discussion about patient-centeredness. Okay, this idea that you may have heard from your healthcare professionals or when you've gone to different places where they say, we center you, or we provide trauma-informed support, or anything like that. And it's like, am I really getting it? Are they really talking? And because patient-centeredness is not well-defined, it's not well-defined for our community. It's not well-defined for Blacks, women, birthing-capable people, folks that are medically vulnerable. So we're going to sit down together and further that conversation, but also begin to define it. So I think it'll be a good time, and that's when it'll be, and love to see you.
Thank you. And one more time, when is that? How can people lock in? Well,
reach out to us on our social media so that you can get the registration link. Registration is required. We're going to be at the Discover Shine Bright Community Center on 85th and Cottage in Chatham, and it's going to be from noon to 4 on Saturday, March 2nd.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It was a pleasure having you here. And again, we friends now. I'm going to be asking you all types of questions, girl. I'm going to be like, okay. The funny thing was, sidebar, I was just thinking about some herbs and different things to take for myself and for my son to do some cleanses and to balance energy and all types of other stuff. So we locked in.
I love it.
Y'all make sure y'all lock in with her as well. And again, this has been an amazing show. And thank you all for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And if you have not already, follow Talking Trash Chicago everywhere, y'all, and make sure that you share this with someone who needs the information. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time. As always, our community, our responsibility. Thank you. All right, everyone. Again, it is me, Natalie Battles, and I am here with Otez Gary, and we are at the Comer Center, which we are super, super excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you for having me on the show, too, as well.
For sure. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here?
Well, how much about myself? Just the
as
role
much
here?
As you will. Because you're an artist, too, and we love artists here at Talking Trash.
Yeah, so my name is Otez Gary. Originally from Detroit, been in Chicago for 15 years. I always tell people I've been born in two cities, adolescence all through in Detroit, and then all of my adulthood here in Chicago. So, and here at the Gary Comer Youth Center, I work as the community engagement manager here, focusing on everything community, from our programming to special events to just convenings, and really just thinking about how we can put some of the puzzle pieces together collaboratively with everybody that's around here, Greater Grand Crossing. And artist, designer, multi-hyphenate,
all the things, all the amazing things.
Curator outside of being a programmer here, and more. I don't know.
Wonderful.
There we go. That's a little bit.
We love it. We love it. So what's one program that you guys may have coming up here at the Comer Center that you're really looking forward to?
One program, some things can't even be announced yet.
So, on the hush? Okay.
I will say there are some pretty exciting things in development that I don't want to talk too much on.
So where can they come back and find the information?
But that'll be probably in the next month. It'll be a nice, exciting array of announcements coming up for the community here. So I want to keep the energy here.
Ooh, okay.
Trying to make sure everything goes the way it needs to, and make sure it's organized for everybody to really enjoy. So just be on the lookout. It's going to be really good.
Just be excited. Be excited. And then where can they plug in? Is there a phone number they can call, a website?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to reach out to me directly, just talk about anything community, you can always email me at ogary@comercampus.org. So that's OGARY. Okay, there we go. It's going to be OGARY@comercampus.org if you want to reach out to me by email. And you can always go on the Gary Comer Youth Center website as well, too, if you all just want to focus and see what's happening with the programming here, and kind of get like a quick shot of what we're doing. But, I'm an open book, too, so just email me if you need to, if you have to.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for having us. You were super great today and super helpful.
Thank
and
you.
we love the Commerce Center, so we'll definitely be back if you guys will love to have us.
Yeah, we'd love to have y'all back. So thank y'all.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for watching.
Yeah. We got to come together, we got to become better, we got to find the difference like the change in the weather. We can't be flowing, dancing in the wind like we some feathers. I'm trying to build a couple homes so we can have some shelter, or maybe feed a couple people so they stomach better. I'm trying to build a nation that go through generations. You gotta have the patience, I wouldn't call it waiting, but honestly all my prodigies gon' be contemplating on ways to break through the curses that had our mamas aching and all our daddies bleeding. I'm trying to find the reason, but I ain't here for weeping, cause our community needs some unity and some peace. I'm trying to go ahead and slay through all our enemies. They trying to go ahead and shake up all our energy. I protect my enemies so my people enter me, learning from our pain and connecting all our synergies.
Take your power back. We can't wait on nobody else to save us. We can and will save us. We got everything we need. Our community, our responsibility.